around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started, it's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. Yeah,
get your boots ready. We're about to go on a trip where we wrestle, nobody settling or calling it quits. You're here for the grit, betcha this stuff is amazing. You're stumbling? Welcome to the bump in the apron. Step into it, the hardest part of the ring. Here to bring fun, yeah, in this art he is king. It's the best thing, making sure you don't tap out. Don't go soft with the hardest podcast out. And it's not just another one, it's clear. Off the rest, in this content, none contest. Take the nonsense off the steps. You know it's nothing but pure gems when it's coming off the chest. Get it? Now it's time to sit and relax. Get your mind blown away, ain't no skipping this track. Have you paying more attention, no listening gap. Get everything I ever wanted, no giving it back.
Ooh, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast. I'm your host, the hardest part of the ring, Kyle Bird. How are we doing today, folks? How's everybody's week going? Hump day, etc. Glad to have you. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. We got a fun old show for you today. Hardcore Heaven 1996, of course, presented by the old ECW vehicle, Extreme Championship Wrestling, if you're not aware. Really fun show today. Both the event we're talking about and the podcast itself, very entertaining. ECW, man. Look, I don't want to... Can you fuck off? My cat wants to jump up and speak, as he's done before, but whenever I hand the mic to him, he doesn't say a goddamn thing. What do you got to say, Dwayne? Come here. Just come here. Come here. No, you're just going to claw at my thighs? You gotta join the Patreon to do that. Okay? Can I continue? Or am I gonna continue and then you're gonna claw at my calves? Anyways, what are we talking about? ECW, Hardcore Heaven. Very interesting time in pro wrestling. June of 1996. And if you are at all familiar with pro wrestling in the mid to late 90s, you know what this timeline kind of entails. We're quickly approaching the NWO. We're quickly approaching Austin 316. At least for me, like those are my kind of milestones in this era. But ECW is always kind of like, it's the one that I'm least familiar with. It's the one where I'm least familiar with the timelines and when things happen and what things happen in particular. So it's always a mystery for me going in. But I'll say this, man, and I don't want to get too ahead of my anal here, but stick around to the end of the podcast where we will not only grade this show, but we will compare ECW against WCW and WWF from an in-ring perspective, out-of-ring perspective. You know, the storylines, the hype, the in-ring quality, lots of criteria we look at. And this is all part of the hardest promotion of 1996 battle between these three companies, these three major North American companies. The battle's gotten tighter. Oh yeah. At the beginning of the year, it was WWF was dominating. But as we kind of reached the midsummer period, I would say WWF probably at this point might have the weakest product. And ECW has got some good stories going on, and we're going to talk about it in this podcast. We got RVD and Sabu continuing their saga. We got Shane Douglas is still in the TV title picture, as is Chris Jericho and the current champion Pitbull number 2. For some reason. Yeah, we got Raven defending his world title against Terry Gordy. I'm realizing as I'm like kind of foreshadowing this episode, I'm realizing on paper this might not be the best, but I promise you there's some good stuff here. The tag team division is kind of It's just the worst kind of orgy. Like, think of the worst orgy you've ever been in. That's what it is when like the gangsters and the Bruise Brothers and the Eliminators and the Dudleys. I mean, it's like an orgy. It's like when you arrive at an orgy and they don't even provide a charcuterie board beforehand. You know what I mean? It's like, how am I gonna give old Deb here a Rogerine without some brie cheese in the old piper? You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, speaking of that's kind of, a lot of cooters on this show too, a lot of cooters, a lot of blowjobs, a lot of beegers as well. I don't even know why I bother. Let's just get to the episode. We got a lot to talk about, but first let me give a shout out to my beautiful, beautiful, luscious guests. Kevin Rogue, Duke Bags from the Year of Duke and Rogue podcast, returning to the show. Love having these guys on. It's always a hoot having these boys talk some old school wrestling. They talk a lot of old school wrestling on their show. Every season they cover a year of a certain promotion within a certain era. So if you love, or if you just like the Apron Bump, you will enjoy the Year of Duke and Rogue. You can find them through Gorilla Brain Podcasts. Just search out Gorilla Brain Wrestling wherever you listen to podcasts. All this information will be in the description as well. But a hilarious show. They're currently working their way through the first pay-per-view year of TNA. So they basically started where I started in my TNA timeline, and they're working their way through a year's worth of TNA. If you listen to me, you've listened to me talk about TNA, you know there's a lot of bullshittery. Let's just say that to talk about, and they have a good old time doing that. So do that. The Shining Wizards, of course, Handsome Kevin is part of that as well. Go check them out. Tots Pod, a bunch of stuff. They got a lot of irons in the fire, but go do all of that. Like I said, all that will be in the description below. Go check them out. Check me out too, apronbump.com for everything, at apronbump on all the social medias. If you like this era of wrestling, ECW, WCW, WWF, mid-90s stuff, go to apronbump.com and you can go to the episodes tab at the top. You can select any era, any promotion that you'd like to hear me recap. You could select Wrestling Wars of the 90s, and that'll bring you to all of the ECW, WCW, and WWF shows in this era in chronological-ish order. Or you can just select ECW. If you're just interested in ECW, you can do that as well. Binge away. It's always a good old time, including this episode coming right at you. ECW, Hardcore Heaven, 1996, with myself in Kevin Rogue and Duke Bags from the Year of Duke and Rogue podcast.
Got the herp. It was a ballad.
How's that go?
It goes, my baby's got the herp. Oh, baby, please don't give me that herp. Real catchy jam.
I can't tell if you're bullshitting or not.
That's 100% true.
What was your band's name?
Da Baby Daddies.
Oh, so that's where the rapper Da Baby probably got it.
Probably took it from us because we were around. I mean, this is 20 years ago now. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what kind of music was it?
Power slop. Stealing from Ares.
I use the power slop.
Yeah, it was real sleazy Sunset Strip style rock and roll that we played.
Sunset Strip. Do you have long hair?
Oh fuck yeah. Long hair, long beard, man. Not as bad as like Duke's hair. Like Duke, I don't think he's gotten his hair cut for like 6 years, something like that.
Well, his is nice and luscious. So,
don't tell him I said it, but kid's got a nice head of hair, right? He's got a nice head of hair, right? I don't want him to get the wrong impression, right? Next time he's over, I don't want him to like hold on to my hand or kind of give me the bedroom eyes. I'm not looking for the bedroom eyes, I'm sure plenty of other guys out there would love to get the bedroom eyes from Duke. It's just not who I am.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably a high demand for it anyways, so I don't even know if really he'd be.
For Duke?
I would assume so.
Have you talked to the man?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure have.
All right. Hey, It's neither here nor there, I guess.
I have a clip of him from the last time we did this, and I've been waiting for a moment to use it. He just goes, "Nice keister."
So his style of comedy and his delivery are, because we've known each other over 30 years, but his like brand of comedy and his delivery is just it goes just so unnoticed by so many people,
right?
And sometimes I don't even think that he realizes that he's being fucking hilarious. Like, I don't think it's on purpose. Sometimes it's fucking amazing, like
a natural.
We went to college together, and like out of nowhere, he just like asked the most. He wouldn't say shit in class for like 3 weeks, and then just asked the most profound question. And we had one professor, Dawn was her name, great gal, and he just cracks this giant question, beautiful question on it, and then she kind of looks up, she's like, "Was that you?" Hey, there he is.
Hey,
what's up, Duker? How you doing?
Old luscious Lucas.
Pretty good. I'm rocking my other New Year of Duke and Rogue shirt.
Ooh.
I love that shirt.
Check
that
it
shirt.
out.
I like it. Where can people get that shirt? Or can you?
PWTs.
Nice.
Did you hear about the we got pirated on a shirt design? Did you hear about this?
Did you?
Yeah.
Big news.
Was some company jacked one of our designs and started selling it on their website. So we had we had our legal counsel send them cease and desist.
To Tony.
Our legal counsel.
Right. Why are you asking so many questions?
Right. I'll have to talk to my attorney here.
Right.
A lot of things still in flux, a lot of moving parts. You know.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, we can cut this out if you need to, right? If there's legal ramifications.
Right. No, but he lawyered the piss out of them. It was great.
So, man.
Yeah.
What's that logo right there?
What?
That logo right there on Duke's shirt?
Oh no, man! It was it's our Nards Plow shirt. So we released it on like Thursday. Saturday morning, I'm taking a shit, scrolling, and I'm like, "What? Wait a second, motherfucker! That's not an Al. Like, Al does all the designs. I knew he would tell me. He'd tell me like, hey, we're gonna sell through this site too. I didn't hear anything, so I sent it to him, and Al was pissed. So like, don't worry, let me talk to my lawyer. Yeah, he was pissed.
Right. So. Give them the old Nards Plow of your own. Am I right? Am I wrong, fellas?
Well, I mean, it's such a great shirt. Al's been working on it for a long time just to fine tune it, right? Had to fine tune it.
See, here's the Nards Plow in action, right?
That's an action shot of the Nards Plow. Yeah.
Action shot of the Nards Plow. This one Kevin's talking about, it's a whole abstract piece. It's beautiful.
Yeah. An abstract Nards Plow. That's fantastic.
Well, it's a snow plow truck. It's a Nards Plow, and it's plowing 2 giant boulders of snow that might resemble a pair of Nards. You know,
that's kind of fun, actually. I do like that. I wanted to hate it, but I love it.
And on the bottom, it just says, "That's enough."
It's very. There's no other podcast that could be about other than yours. So,
right, well, yeah. Should have rethought that. Maybe should have dropped.
A pretty original idea.
Maybe should have dropped an "oh yeah" on the top of it. Yeah? That would have made sense. Oh yeah, on the top of it. That's enough. On the bottom, and the Nards Plow forging through.
Potential for another shirt, man. See,
yeah,
keep them coming.
I'll talk to Al and my attorney, of course.
Right. Yes, of course. Yeah, you got to get his counsel. How's the TNA going, boys? I've been listening to your last couple episodes. Sounds like you're having a good old time.
There's some good, some bad, really reminiscent of the last season we did.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of a continuation, but with it's a little more together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not as much like Crash, just okay, we're nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah.
All of a sudden Rusey's the champ, That hasn't happened yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I think we discussed a little bit on the last episode that we recorded, is like it's so reminiscent of just horrible WCW in their dying days, but somehow it's just a little bit together. Mm-hmm. I mean, like it's not quite as disconnected and bad, even though there is. I mean, it's close, right? It's close. If Dying Days WCW is, we'll call that like the base mountain with a shit camp, right? Base camp is what I mean, right? Base camp of shit mountain, however you want to put it. It's like you're at like the first, like, I need to stop and take a breath on that climb away from it. So you're not too far away from it, but you know, you can still kind of see it, but you're away from it now.
As much of a critic of Jeff Jarrett as I am,
You
I think
love
him holding on to that title, it kind of gives some stability to the promotion, even though like every title match is like a shit show, just like WCW. But in that last season we covered, there was about 25 title changes. So
that's true.
A little stability is kind of nice, I suppose. But the finishes are all the fucking same too. It's, you know.
Yeah.
It's not all the same. And Jeff Jarrett, you're right, is a stable champion. He's a champion you can be proud of.
I mean,
he just made himself the champ.
Yeah. That's what
I'm
promoters
start a company, I'm going to make myself the champ. And
who else is going to be champ? Fucking Disco Inferno?
Right. You're going to put it on. Oh, no.
Glenn Gilberti and Johnny Swinger, they're bumbling around somewhere, right?
Johnny B. Bad probably could have made a fantastic champion at the time, but Jeff Jarrett's the right guy. He's the
something
dude.
Really out of place here with TNA. The Dougler is in the back being a really awkward announcer guy.
Yeah.
Like he should be feuding for that title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the
instead
he's been hanging out outside of Kevin Nash's dressing room.
The limo. He's always with the limo. He's got some weird fucking fascination. Yeah, every time we see a limo, like fucking Franchiseler isn't like he's ready. He's Johnny there on the spot with the limo. So
when you guys called him Detective Dougler, that like I don't know why that like to hit my funny bone just perfectly. And you can't get away from the Dougler, whether it's WCW, TNA, or a little ECW here. 1996, the Dougler's all over this show. Yeah. But man, this is our third ECW show we've covered, relatively same era. Thoughts, comparisons to previous shows? What do you guys think of or Hardcore Heaven 96 just in general?
You want my first impression?
Please.
I thought that the tape broke.
The tape?
Yeah, it opens and that logo just stays there. And there's like a little on the bottom, there's like a little like somebody needed to hit the tracking.
Right.
So like I was sitting there waiting. I was like, did I fucking hit pause? Did I pause this somehow? I'm sitting there, I was like, the tape break? What the fuck? And then smoke rolls across and they start the show. But that was my very first impression. So going in, not a good start. But it was an interesting.
But then a couple seconds later, I mean, we're off to the races, right?
Yeah, off to the races. I have a lot of issues with this show.
Oh boy,
Leia Meow's wearing a. Oh, we'll get there, but
I'm starting to embrace the chaos.
Oh
right?
yeah,
I mean, these shows just start like out of nowhere, right?
Yes,
like, and you don't really know what's happening. It's just sloppily cut together.
Mm-hmm.
But the fans are nuts.
The crowd was super hot for this show in particular.
This is, that enhances the quite a bit. Having fans that are so invested, chanting about whatever, you fat fuck, shut up, we don't care,
right.
I know that Kevin's going to have an issue with the series of tag team matches we have tonight.
There was no fucking tag team matches. But
there's 4 of them in a row.
Oh, you're full of shit. Who won any of them? Nobody knows. But
nobody.
So
but the tag division is just so hotly contested that it's kind of a stalemate of sorts.
Yeah, they got some real doozies in there.
I like seeing Terry Gordy in this one. I didn't expect.
Why the fuck is Bam Bam Terry Gordy on this show?
Why the fuck not?
Do you have a fucking print of him too over your bed with Jimmy? Who's his dick? Jimmy Del Rey?
Don't you ever? All right.
I know you're talking about getting the Executioner Elite Fig on one of your recent episodes with Al.
When that fig comes out, I might get them all.
Is this before or after Executioner?
This would have been what month was this? May.
May, yeah, or June.
So this would be.
I think it's right before.
So
maybe
June is right before. Yeah.
Okay. Because he looked pretty good in this show, but I don't remember the Executioner being very well received.
No, he was the Executioner. I mean, but what else are you going to do with him, right? He's not a looker, right?
That's debatable.
Terry Gordy's, he's not a stud, right? I don't think he's got the sororities clamoring. So I think you put a mask on him,
I don't think I
You
agree with
think
that
so?
at all.
He looks like a fucking caveman.
There's a market
He
for
had
that,
a legendary team with Dr. Death back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
tough guys, right? This guy was he did himself in with the doping. I think at this stage he had already died a couple times
Fucking
from
doper.
overdoses.
Mm.
But he's a world champion, in Japan.
Right.
And great hand. I think he died when he was 40, so it's gone too soon. But
Really?
I kind of like seeing him. I didn't expect to see him. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
Studley Steve is probably my highlight of the night here. Looking forward to.
You mean dancing Stevie Richards? Yeah, man, he's a hoot.
He comes to play in this one.
He sure does.
Yeah.
It's man, but the road there is just. I mean, this whole show is a wild one. I mean, it's just like you said, Rogue. Like right from the get go, 3 seconds into this show, you turn it on. Sandman's already caning people. Joe Gertner, the ring announcer, I don't know what the hell he did, but Sandman took a pounding to him. And
was that in one of his quips? He's
I
gonna
guess.
pound him. Is that nothing? All right.
What?
No.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
You'll get.
I don't know.
All right. I thought maybe you're gonna grace us with a Joel Gertner pounding quip, but
I mean,
all
you
right.
can if you would like to.
You didn't have one in the holster. It's okay. No, I didn't come up with one because I thought you would have one.
I'm not the biggest Joel Gertner aficionado per se. I know he wore a neck brace for a long time, and he was like a stud muffin. That's pretty much all I got.
Time.
Yeah, but maybe this was why he wore the neck brace, because he got his ass handed to him by old Sandman here. Crowd loves it. Crowd didn't pop any harder on this show than when Joel Gertner got his ass kicked. They're chanting one more time, and Sandman just keeps on hitting them, and Sandman just grabs the mic and yells "Yo" a bunch of times, and man, it's playing to your audience. So
we talked about this last time. I was going to ask if either of you guys had a translation for what he was screaming. He just gets on the mic and screams, just nothing.
Yeah. Yo!
Crowd ate it up, man. Crowd loves it.
They loved it.
Whatever this guy's saying.
Kendo, man.
He's
you don't see a kendo stick anywhere else outside of wrestling, right? Really? What's it for?
I think it's to punish. It's used in some sort of mixed martial art, not mixed martial, some sort of martial art, like karate or taekwondo, to toughen up the students or something. That's what I heard.
Donatello had?
No.
He just had a straight stick, right?
Yeah, he was a stick man.
What's the difference between a stick and a kendo stick?
I think the way it's built, the way it's fashioned,
Right.
I think a stick, you can just grab a stick, right? You got one. But kendo stick, there's a little bit of handiwork that goes into that.
Right.
You need a carpenter, probably, to make a kendo stick.
Have I shown you my kendo stick?
You got a kendo stick.
You got it right, pal. I mean,
yeah.
Just in case. Some people have guns for self-defense. I got this bad boy on Amazon.
Boy, had I known that we were going to show what we use for self-defense, I would have showed you Swore Dildo.
I mean, we have time. We're not live.
It's it's upstairs.
No, it's downstairs. Am I right?
Oh yeah. Man, I got an aluminum ball bat, but I might have to get a kendo. Kind of a shame that I don't own one, to be honest.
Still lugging around that ball bat, huh?
Oh yeah.
Wherever you go.
I still got the. You remember my ball bat from when we were kids? My aluminum.
Oh, you still got that?
I still got that. Yeah, when we were children. Yeah, I still got it.
Well,
just in case.
Just in case. Right?
Just in case.
Can never be too safe since 9/11, right?
Well,
you just never know, man.
How do you segue from 9/11 to Bob Ortiz? I don't really know. But Bob Ortiz is here. The old, I guess, old school ECW ring announcer. I guess that's why Sandman just bludgeoned Joe Gertner for no reason.
Who's the gal with the big cans?
Which one?
It's Missy.
Oh, yeah, Missy Hyatt.
Okay.
The walking riot, Missy Hyatt.
Yeah.
All right.
Those guys.
So he's just passing her around, pretty much.
That's what I thought, dude. Missy, get him! Like, what? That's not what you're supposed to do with your gal. Missy, get him! Like, good for Bob Ortiz, or not, because I'm pretty sure he contracted one or two things in that exchange. But Yeah, because she's kind of a walking hot dog stand, isn't she?
Yeah, something like that.
There's always something in there.
Just waiting for it. Yeah, I don't know if Sandman's just a big old cuck or if maybe Missy does have some very weaponized herpes and he's just sicking it on everybody. But that's kind of a storyline that's playing out.
Chemical warfare.
Chemical warfare. That's what I was looking for. But
and very slick.
That's a genius. Like if they would have used that as a story device, I would have been all for it. Like,
are we sure that's not what it is?
Well, she goes after Bob Ortiz, right? Like he poses no threat,
as far as you know. Get to look at that fella. Shady character, this Bob Ortiz. But you know who else is shady? Is the Francher, Shane Douglas, who's in this opening match here against Mikey Whipwreck. So old Shano just lost his TV title at the recent TV tapings, which we'll get to the new champion later. But he's here facing Mikey Whipwreck. Kind of just the opening match here. I thought it was actually a pretty solid match. It was a little better than I was expecting. They're chanting "Little Dick" at Shane Douglas, which I feel like is a bit unfair. I feel like Douglas probably packing, right? He seems like a guy.
Well, I mean, put yourself in his shoes. You got an audience full of people. And they're chanting "Little Dick" at you. Don't you? I mean, if you're confident in what you got, don't you just kind of drop the drawers?
Well, some people aren't presentation ready all the time.
He's a little classier, I think.
I think in that situation, you drop your drawer and say it to its face.
Right. Right. And it's summer, so it's probably plump and yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
plump. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Franchisler's got a very plump cock.
Yeah, he does. Well known. Well known.
Seems like everything else is legal in the ECW arena, so
yeah, with
why not? I guess
with what else it's more tawdry stuff on this show that I think old Shano's penis probably wouldn't have been the worst.
What do you guys think of that handshake at the beginning? It was just a straight handshake.
Oh,
show of respect.
Yeah, I mean,
it caught me off guard that there's usually I'm gonna kick him in the junk or clothesline him or some sort of backstabbing, but that caught me off guard. In the land of ECW, there's very little respect shown generally. So,
well, he didn't have any respect for the fucking timekeepers table, Franchisler.
What?
That irritated the shit out of me. He goes outside and he just throws everything off the table. It's like the timekeepers, like everything. There's shit on that table for a reason. It's like he just takes it, wipes it all away. It's like, you disrespectful son of a bitch.
Did he use the table?
Not that I know of. I think he just throwing a bitch fit.
Right.
Like, this is not the Franchiser that I love.
Well,
it's not the Dino Machino that I'm in for.
God. Well, maybe it's getting hot and bothered. Mikey was kind of, had the advantage for a bit in this match. He had to kind of kick himself into high gear a little bit. We all have our methods. Speaking of dicks, I mean, Mikey kind of takes a beating in this match. Shane kicks him in the dick, which I guess maybe he's just trying to lure him into a false sense of security with the handshake and then open it up the groinal region. Bing, bam, boom. And then a thing in ECW, I've only seen in ECW. I don't know why nobody else does this. The whole wishbone thing across the bottom rope, like the crotch against the bottom rope, and slingshots the guy back into the ring. So funny. So
it's genius.
Yeah. So good.
It's as creative as a Nard shot as you can get, man.
Right.
That's you pull them right in there, right? And I don't think that's a DQ, right? That's not a DQ.
DQs are very fluid in ECW. I'm not really sure what.
Well, I'm just in the general, wrestling realm. I think that if you're using the ring, I think you're okay.
I think that's fair game, pal.
Yeah, I think so.
Ring posts. Nobody gets DQ'd for a ring post spot, so
right.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's part of the ring. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We've had deep discussion about what is and what is not fair game in the staging area.
Right.
It varies, But in this one, the juggler has a cheap shot on the official, so I don't think disqualification's really in the cards. He just hits him.
It doesn't even do anything after that. He's in a figure four, punches the referee. The referee recovers, and then he's just back to checking out. Nothing. It was the most unnecessary punch of a referee I've ever seen in my life. But
he was pissed, man. He must really love that TV title.
Yeah. Well, and then the other thing that I like when he's in that whole sequence, he punches the ref, and he's in the figure 4, and I'm looking that he's got some hairy motherfucking legs.
Does he
You
now?
notice this? You didn't take note of this.
I was too busy looking at his package. That's kind of where I stopped looking.
Oh,
you talking Douglas?
Yeah, Douglas, man. Furry guy, real furry guy.
Is he furry or just in comparison to all the other shaved legs? Well, in ECW, there's probably not a lot of shaved legs, to be fair.
Well, and you couldn't see what Mikey Whipwreck was working with, so it's you can't really say maybe it was a comparison situation.
Well, like to other people on the show, like Tazz. Tazz is a very smooth boy, you know.
Right. And then you see him in other arenas, right? You see him in WCW, you see him in the WWF, smooth legs.
Right.
ECW, hairy fucking legs.
Well,
I don't know what's going on there.
That's the extreme.
What's going on there?
Land of the wild.
That's
man.
the hairs of the okay. I wonder if I could be extreme.
It's like, what are you about to show us? Get ready. Well, yeah, Shane wins with the belly to belly at the end. And like I said, pretty solid match. Working on the leg of Mikey throughout the whole thing. I thought Mikey's selling was really good. Like even when he was getting whipped into the ropes, he was like hobbling, which I feel like you don't see a lot of.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty solid match. What you guys say? I mean, any other thoughts on this one?
No, I think it was a decent match. I think Mikey, I mean, where he got the spot that he got in is because he sold so well.
Yeah.
So him selling well is no surprise there. It was okay. It was okay. It wasn't one that I wasn't mad at it. I was mad when Douglas disrespected the timekeeper's table, but outside of that, well,
you're really hot about the timekeeper's table, huh?
Well, that shit's important, man.
Why?
If you've been at a wrestling,
get a stopwatch.
You've been in the wrestling arena in the venue, right?
Yeah,
if you've worked a wrestling show, you know that timekeeper shit is there for a reason. That's important shit.
Yeah. What do they do? What does a timekeeper do? Please inform the audience.
What the fuck do you think a timekeeper?
What, you have
does,
a goddamn a stopwatch? Like, what? You need a whole table full of gobbledygook.
He rings the bell, doesn't he?
Rings
That's
the bell,
his job,
right?
Yeah, put it on your phone.
Oversees the title when that's on the line. That goes on the
title. Fucking plop it on the ground.
You need a guy. You need a trustful man to oversee the title.
Wear it.
He's got some water. You're not. No, your timekeeper can't wear a title.
Oh, please. Put up.
You gotta earn that to get it snapped. You need it. You gotta earn it. Then you get snapped.
So that's why they need a whole table full of papers and cords and stuff. Okay.
Papers are important. Yeah.
Well, other than that, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on Baron von Ratsky? Any strong opinions on the Iron Claw? Big Iron Claw guys.
He's a local guy.
Is he?
Yeah.
Minnesota guy.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
He was at a show I worked not too long ago.
Got the claw going.
Yeah.
Did he put the claw on you?
He did not.
Oh my God.
He did not. But
did he have his
he
hood?
still got it. He didn't have his hood either.
What does he have?
I liked it, man. I was laughing. You know, like what the hell is he doing here? And we get Blue Dust with him.
Right.
Is there a better combo?
Look,
he sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger, though.
Blue Dust?
Did you pick up on that? No, Baron von Stevie.
Well, his bald cap also wouldn't stay on, so I think he was a little frazzled.
Yeah. It was that part. Have no fear.
I hear it. Yeah.
I'll not harm the Blue Dust. It's like, what are you talking about, Stevie? Enough.
Like how Blue Dust is just humping the ring while Steadley Steve is doing his impersonation.
Humping Joey Styles. Joey Styles is in the ring. Calls out. I don't know what this segment is for, but Baron von Stevie, Blue Dust, and the director Patricia, who I didn't know who this Patricia character was, but obviously Gold Dust and Marlena parody, and then Baron von Claw, what's his dick? Stevie. So Stevie's obviously in Raven's flock, and for whatever reason, Raven told Stevie to go find him the most scuzzy hoe bag that he could ever find. I don't know why. It's just to keep him busy, maybe. And one thing I also noted on this show, I think there was at least like 2 or 3 times where somebody walked to somebody and just threw their head at their crotch, like just throwing beegers left and right.
That was my note there. It looked like Blue Dust was about to do the job for Joey here. And he's humping the mat, moving around. It was a very strange segment. Like it was very. I just don't know what they were going for.
Right.
To me, the best part was when he grabs Joey Styles right in the dick, and Joey just walks away. He just walks away.
Well, was that before or after the claw on Joey Styles?
I think it was after.
Okay.
I think it was after. Yeah. And he just grabs the crank, and Joey just doesn't. He just walks away. Like you got to do one of two things, right? You either got to grab it back, right?
Right.
It's exchange crank grabs.
Just good manners.
Or you just. Well, I mean, yeah, that's one thing. Or you really get into it. You lay a smooch, see what happens.
Right.
This is hardcore, right?
This is extreme. That's what I've heard.
This is extreme
about this particular company. Yeah. But yes, the prelude to the BWO is what we got going here. Nova shows up later because we're about I think less than a month away from the NWO kind of starting up here. So, but the Blue World Order or whatever they're called at this point, they parodied the Blue Bloods on ECW on TV like the week before this, which Lord Stevie Richards, the Royal Robert of Eating was Blue Meanie, which is fun. But yeah, then Stevie rides Blue Dust away. Oh yeah, and
Oh yeah.
But then, boy howdy, the hits just keep on coming. We got the old Dudley Boys saga up here next, ladies and gentlemen. We got the Dudleys represented here by Big Dick and Bubba versus the FBI, the full-blooded Italians, JT Smith and Little Guido. Question: what do you guys know about the wild man Sal Balomo?
Well, he's dressed like a Trojan.
He's dressed like Raven in 2004, I think. That's what he's
Yeah, so I think
that Raven helmet.
He might be a little bit of a time traveler, and that's about the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah, I guess he's an ECW, like a Eastern Championship Wrestling alumni of sorts, but I guess he's a new member of the FBI because he's Italian, so he sounds like it.
Did you find it strange the mic wasn't working? Like JT Smith starts talking, and the mic just keeps on cutting in and out and in and out. And he says, "I'm going to find another Goomba." Now, isn't that a like one of the villain characters from Mario? Aren't those Goombas?
I mean, we can give it a little Google ski. Is it? We're sure it's
It
not.
is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So it was Goombas. So that
Okay.
I was like, wait a second, but it must. I don't know if it's a derogatory term for Italians. Like I don't know what Goomba actually is.
It's a person of Sicilian descent.
Well, there you go. See, it's just
Mario's racist.
okay. Well, I don't think it's racist if he's Sicilian. I think he's just saying what he is. Right?
Have you seen the Goombas in Mario?
I don't think so. Can you paint a picture for me?
They're portrayed as the bad guy. I can't really paint the picture, man. I can't do it with Goombas.
Mario's
Sorry.
Italian.
I don't want to be lumped in and be one of those racists.
No, yeah,
right?
no,
So,
that's fine. That's fair. Well, I mean, Sal Balomo here. I mean, if that's what a Goomba is, I think I got the picture. He's wearing like a
he kind of does look like a Goomba.
velvet cape of sorts and the stupid furry Trojan helmet, but like no pants and wrestling boots. I don't think he knows what he's going for. But then you got the Dudleys on the other side. Now we are amidst of the Dudley Civil War here because Devon has shown up, and him and Big Dick are at odds. They both want control of the Dudley family, or Devon wants control, and Big Dick's just there like, oh, what are you doing? So Devon's there, but Devon's not here in the beginning. It's only Big Dick. There's just a lot of webs. I mean, this Dudley fiasco it's all over the place. But Bubba here, apparently he's learned a lot from Devon because Devon's been like telling him to get rid of his stutter and to, be more serious. So this is the first time Bubba actually says his name without stuttering. He just says, "I'm Bubba Ray Dudley." And then he slaps JT, and then we're off to the races here. But the match is kind of secondary to all the shenanigans, really. But I don't know. What you guys think of like the match itself, I guess?
Yeah, I think the intro to the match definitely overshadowed the match itself. I mean, you skipped big Bubba's jerking off and singing "Fly Me to the Moon." He also grabs Bob Ortiz's dick. Like,
does he?
Bob Ortiz.
I'm missing all these
when he
dick grabs.
I like when he grabs Hat Guy's hat and like does a lap around the ring.
That was good. That was good. It was I don't know. It wasn't for me, right? It just the opening just wasn't for me. And Bubba's a good promo, right?
Yeah.
Bubba knows how to get the crowd going. But the jerking off and fly me to the moon, it just didn't.
Well, it's because they're Italian.
Like
he's making fun of the Italians, is what he was doing there.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get that. I wasn't connecting the dots there, Mario. Good job.
You go. And Goomba'd it up for you.
Yeah, Devon comes out, he's just pissed, just throwing fucks and,
thou shalt not fuck with the Dudleys, as he says.
This is a serious domestic situation with the Dudley family. Is it so? It's a battle of control between Big Dick and Devon. Is that what we're? Yeah, that's what we're going with.
Before Devon showed up, the Dudleys were like happy-go-lucky, like look at us, look how silly we are, kind of thing. But then Devon's like, hey, you gotta respect this family name. Nobody fucks with us. You gotta make people respect you. And he does this by just cheering everybody. He gets unhinged. He's the only guy that ever gets DQ'd in ECW. That's how far he takes it. But in this case, he ends up cheering his whole family. But I think it's just tough love. So,
speaking of DQ, hold on. I heard a bell ring like 5 minutes into this match, and then Devon showed up, and it was all over. Do we have a winner here?
That's a good question. I think somebody in the crowd had a bell, which was pissing me off throughout this entire show. It was like a ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, but it like kind of sounded like the bell, but not. It wasn't exactly. So somebody's just being a dick in the crowd was my interpretation of that. But
with Sal, like Sal didn't do shit this entire
the Wild Man, Sal Balomo,
Wild Man, the lazy man, Sal Balomo. He was on the outside. He didn't do just a goddamn thing. But did you happen to take notice of the referee?
Was he wearing windbreaker pants?
Oh, they're either windbreaker or they were silk. I couldn't determine which one, but that's not acceptable attire. We got to make some changes.
Not silk either?
Make some changes. No, you can't wear
Why
silk
not?
as an official. Are you kidding? You're fucking sliding around the ring.
You can't slide in silk? No, I've never put on silk and slid in a ring.
You come to Minnesota, I'll set you up.
Okay. Not going to happen now. So silk referee aside, this does end up in a DQ or a no contest, whatever the hell. I think Devon cheers the ref at some point. Who knows? But he's mad at Bubba because before Devon comes out, actually, I should say that Big Dick took out Sal, the Wild Man, and carried him to the back to kind of neutralize him. It wasn't until Big Dick,
fucking neutralize him.
We're analyzing.
What the fuck is he?
We're analyzing this.
What the fuck is he neutralizing?
See his helmet? That guy's bad news. All right, I've never seen a guy in a Trojan helmet that didn't, slaughter people with.
Need to be neutralized.
Look, he's a wild man, Kevin. You never know what he's gonna do.
That's like my wife asking me to like move the pillows on the bed and me going, yeah, let me neutralize these for a second.
I hope you do now. I hope you do say that now.
I am. It's locked and loaded.
There we go. Ready to unload.
So Devon comes out there. He's got his luggage with him.
I guess his flight came in late from the south side of Dudleyville. It probably takes longer to.
And then he did his damage on his family, and then he takes his luggage and he ends up in the passenger seat of an SUV. And who's driving that thing, man?
What about the driver?
That's actually a very good question. I didn't think about that. Is it maybe Little Spike Dudley, perhaps?
Another layer, man.
Come on now.
Another layer.
It's like onions. It smells like it.
There's some intrigue here at the Doodleys.
But it does make me pretty intrigued to see Devon and Big Old Dick confront each other, because it seems like Devon left once Big Dick's music hit. So he's obviously scared of Big Dick, which who isn't? Am I right? Oh, yeah. So Devon leaves and he skedaddles, and then Big Dick just yells at
Devon skedaddles. Yep, that's what he does. He skedaddles.
I mean, am I wrong? You can't sue me for slander.
No, you're right. Yeah, so. Guy skedaddles.
Well,
fuck, no. Fucking, you take the fucking marshmallow man that is Sal the Pal, and you say he's getting neutralized.
He did.
By Big Dick.
You know, he's unpredictable.
But Devon skedaddles away.
Look, I'm just calling it as I see it.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm with you.
So, but speaking of skedaddling, I bet Paul Varlins wanted to skedaddle from this match with Tazz. Up next, this shoot fight. Up next, we got Tazz versus Paul Varlins. I don't know. You guys, any of you guys big Paul Varlins fans?
Varlins. Yeah, he was a UFC guy.
He sure was. Like in the this is 96.
Alaskan polar bear.
The Alaskan polar bear.
His career MMA record is 9-9.
Did you also do the wiki search on this guy? Is it 9-9? I thought it was 9-1. Maybe I read the.
No.
Hold on.
No.
We don't want to besmirch the name of the polar bear.
Right. Got to give the polar bear his just desserts. He's a 9. Yeah, 9.
I read that as 10 total matches.
He passed away from the COVID about 2 years ago. Can we do a moment of silence for this guy?
I'm sure can.
Oh, polar bears no more.
Yeah. COVID, man.
All right. This is how I find out.
Polar bear moment of silence.
What a world.
Well, speaking of his wiki, his Wikipedia, because I was interested because I had never heard of this fella, and I know he's here early UFC, which is like it's like a tough man competition at this point. It's like you get a 400-pound sumo wrestler versus a 100-pound karate man in a gi and no gloves. It's just like whatever. It's just chaos. But he's you
can punch him in the dick.
Yeah, exactly. You can headbutt. You can eye gouge. You can fish hook. All those things.
Yep. Sounds like me in the bedroom.
Oh yeah. So we but otherwise outside we'll get to the match, don't worry, but I want to throw this little nugget up your ass and see if you come. Apparently in this match he agreed to lose only if Missy Hyatt would give him fellatio.
That's a businessman. Yeah? That is a businessman.
However, he didn't read the fine print in this because apparently Missy Hyatt, and I quote, doesn't blow jobbers. So, and this is all according to her book. Who knows, what happened. But apparently, the Alaskan polar bear was none too pleased with this. So he destroyed the locker room. And I don't think he was really seen after this match.
What the fuck kind of a tantrum you going to throw in the locker room?
He's just...
I agreed to lose to get my dick sucked. What the... Somebody's sucking my dick. That's why I lost. I only lost because I read the flip in the if she sucks my dick, and now look, I got a dry dick. Just throwing shit everywhere. It would have worked for me if he was actually. If he was like, yeah, you're right. It's not fair. If you agree to do the job, you do the job. But would it have worked if he actually came out in like some gear? Do you think, like some polar, think of like an RVD singlet, like polar bear sprayed, or or an El Gigante kind of a gimmick?
Mantar,
he's got
perhaps.
Polar bear a little mixture of all, and then I'm betting Missy Hyatt probably would have been in.
That's probably it, right? It was the shitty little knee pads that he was wearing that probably turned Missy Hyatt off, I think.
He's in the back going, Sandman, tell her to get me. Tell her to get me, Sandman. Sandman's like, yo.
Sandman. This was not a problem with Sandman. He'd be all fine with it. He'd prefer it, probably. But, yeah.
This is pretty impressive Team Tazz here. He comes out with like 8 guys.
I do like the presentation for sure.
I'm intrigued by this here. There's several solid factions happening. Right. I mean they're in various states of tatters with the Doodleys and Ravens Misfits and
Hackmeyers and
Team Tazz.
Yeah.
So I like what they're doing there. I mean it didn't seem fair at all. You got poor fucking polar bear against Tazz and the Eliminators and the Dougler and whoever else is out there.
Yeah.
He should have had somebody in his corner, I think.
You think Tazz could take a polar bear?
Ooh. Polar bears are like the most vicious bears, I think.
Yeah, they're the top-notch bears.
You think he's got the strength to lock that choke in?
I think he does.
I don't know if he has the limb length, I think is the thing.
Yeah, I don't know how fucking thick could a polar bear's neck be.
Well, you gotta get it like under an underhook under the arms, right? I guess you could put a rear naked on him.
Yeah, he'd get naked and go rear on him.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. So
I think I'd take Tazz in that fight.
Yeah, I would probably. But no one's naked in this match, unfortunately. Just Paul Varlins, the polar bears here. He's in a t-shirt, shitty little boots, shitty little knee pads, and what looks like Hanes briefs. But he's out here. He's a UFC fighter, and it's just like I said, it's early UFC, so it's like he doesn't have any gloves. He doesn't seem especially polished as a fighter. He's just like a big tough guy, and he did look pretty intimidating, I guess, when compared to Tazz, who is the much smaller of the two. But he definitely didn't matter because Tazz. Well, I guess it was due to Saturn, which was just hilarious because Paul is kind of like sparring with them or whatever. They're taking each other down. They're getting into each other's guard. They're moving. They're jiving. Paul gets up and out of frame. Saturn just flies with a missile drop kick into the back of the polar bear's head. And Tazz is able to get him up with a T-bone Tazz plex, locks in the Tazz mission, and Paul submits. And so Tazz beats a UFC fighter. What do we think about this, gang?
It was quick. It was maybe even should have been quicker. Quite honestly, there wasn't anything to it. Why did Tazz get on the mic and say I fucked him again?
Is that what he was saying? I couldn't really understand.
I thought he said I'm gonna fuck you to death.
Oh, see, I heard I fucked him again, but maybe I'm gonna see if he was saying now knowing this whole contract with the gibber clause. I thought maybe like now knowing that right, maybe Tazz was the guy pulling the strings behind that, going, yeah, we'll get her to suck you off, no problem,
right?
And then, I fucked you again, right? But if he's saying, I'll fuck you to death.
You get in that Tazz mission, man, you're out, right? Sleep assault.
That is
sleep assault. Was that when he fucked him to death during the Tazz mission, perhaps? Is that what put him out?
I didn't see any penetrato.
Well, that singlet on Tazz is a little... You could easily slide that bad boy over and pop out your little Tazzes, right?
Potentially, but there's also you got to get the polar bears wearing like basketball type shorts, so there's some more fabric to get through.
If you try hard enough, you can get through that. Trust me.
That's a good point.
Two things.
All right.
What do you guys think of this Tazz flag?
Love it.
That Alfonso's just waving.
Big flag guy.
Love it. Yeah.
Like it. All right.
It has like
a big T.
T for Tazz. T for time to get out. But yeah, it was the boxing. It was more of a boxing presentation really than a UFC, but I liked it. It was he came out in like the hood and he was head down, the big orange flag behind it. Like it was very there was a lot of branding type stuff, but I don't know, it made him stand out among everybody else on this show as like a legit badass. So I was a big fan of it.
Right. Yeah. I was just gonna say I've Rogue in particular has been real critical about when this type of shit finds its way onto a wrestling card, but I think this is probably the best. Like you said, it was short, and it did make Tazz look like a badass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though he did get that nice assist from Saturn. So if you're gonna do it, like this is probably the way to do it.
If anybody's willing to get on the mic and tell another man he's gonna fuck him to death in front of a live audience, that guy's a badass. Right? It's not a guy I'm gonna mess with.
No,
it's true.
He's got his own flag. Not a lot of guys have their own flag.
Who else has flags on this show? The FBI had a flag,
but that was not an FBI flag. That was the Italian flag.
Right, but they are Italy, I think. So
they are.
Yeah, they like Italy. Like they represent them.
All right. No. Yeah. Manja, I guess.
Yeah. Goomba, right?
Yeah. Goomba.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. I think it was short and sweet, made Tazz look badass. Really all I can ask for. But unfortunately, you just got a mad polar bear backstage with a hard on running around. So I don't know if anybody really wins. But speaking of hard ons, we got Bam Bam Terry Gordy up next, challenging for the ECW world title against the champion Raven. boy, howdy, there's a lot going on here. First off, the Bammers, Terry Gordy. You guys big fans?
I like here in Bad Street, USA.
On ECW.
That was a highlight for me.
Yeah.
I like him. You know, he's probably a little past his prime here, but you know, a big fella, can brawl, can throw you around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of did himself in with the dope, but I was happy to see him here.
I don't like that you said he's past his prime here. You know how old he is here?
35, maybe.
35. Yeah, he's 35 years old. You know how old Raven is here?
How old?
30.
32.
Is he now?
So that's the prime like age gap. Would Raven be over? Like,
He was in his prime when he was in the Freebirds, man. He died 5 years after this.
Yeah.
So
he was a kid. He's a little baby Bam Bam.
So you like him or not here?
I'm a big
like
fan. See,
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm a little younger than you folks, so I wasn't.
Wait, but are you past your prime yet?
I'm not even at my prime, bud.
All right,
Yeah,
Duke. What do you think? I don't know. I don't know where this prime, where this timeline is.
I've been hanging out in my prime for about 10 years, man.
You stay in your prime.
Bullshit. I've known you longer than that.
Man, so this is Studley Steve's second performance, and this time he's got that belly shirt with, I think, a picture of him on it.
Just to reinforce that he is indeed Stevie Richards.
And you want to get us up to speed with this? They're still on the hunt for the slimiest whore, right?
Yeah.
Before we even get going here.
Yeah. So I guess in some way Raven's trying to distract Sandman, because Sandman, I guess, has the current sluttiest whore and Missy Hyatt. So Raven's trying to out slutty whore him as like I don't know, to distract him, perhaps. Who knows? But Stevie, I guess Stevie has accomplished his goal finally by finding Sandman's ex-wife, Peaches. Peaches is his wife, ex-wife, Sandman's. But Peaches is not alone. Or no, at this point, Peaches is alone. She's not alone later. But Peaches comes out. Look, she looks pretty tame to me. She's wearing like a denim skirt, a nice sensible top. Gets in the ring, starts blowing Raven. So it's like, okay, maybe she's not. Maybe Stevie's right here. Second Beeger of the night, but I think at least maybe 2 or 3. I don't know. I'm losing count.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Sandman. Sandman doesn't care. He grabs the mic. He's like, hey, I've already pimped her out to the entire locker room. This doesn't bother me. It's a quote from Sandman here. And then we have a world title match. So that's just a prelude.
What a fucking weird way to play into your match there. It's just fucking strange, right?
Really strange.
She comes out. She wants to blow, and for him to say like I've already pimped her out, like Raven does not look like, or not Raven, my bad. Sandman does not look like a pimp whatsoever. Not a pimp at all.
Philadelphia pimp.
And like he's Philly pimp.
Yeah.
And she comes out and I don't know. To me, she looked like an addict that was coming down. Right? She almost had a zombie walk about her.
Uh-huh.
She really didn't do much of anything. Then she got in the ring and just went right for the dick.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't like any there wasn't any flirting. Nothing.
No lust.
Hey, babe. No lust. There was just. I mean, it was almost like she had rage in her eyes. Almost like she needed to suck that dick. Right? And if you Sandman, how do you let that get away from you?
Well, I mean, look who he's found in replacement. So,
I suppose.
Yeah.
They're kind of one and the same, aren't they? Peaches and Missy.
That's what they all say. It's like Peaches and Missy, whatever the phrase is. But, that leads us into a title match here, which Joey Styles says that the number one contender here was recognized by IWA Japan, which I don't know if there's like a coexisting partnership there or whatever the case is, but that's why Terry Gordy is here. Crowd loses their minds, by the way. And you couldn't really tell because of the dubbed over music, because when they dub over the music, they have to add like crowd noise or whatever. So you couldn't really, but you could like see how the crowd was reacting. And then when the music stopped, you can hear them. So crowd loved Terry Gordy here. And I mean, I thought he looked, like I said, I don't have a lot of like knowledge of what he was like back in the day, but for here, he looked pretty good. I mean, he was just beating on Raven all over the arena, in the crowd, chair shots, bloodies Raven all over the place. They get back into the ring, and Stevie distracts Terry, and this allows Raven to hit a Nard's plow. And then Stevie hands him like a strand of barbed wire, like wraps it. I don't know if anybody gets hit with at this point, but before that, Terry locks in the Oriental Spike. What do we think of that name for a move? It's like a nerve hold type thing, but with a thumb.
I thought it was a little insensitive, to be honest with you.
Right.
Railroads and such. I just, I don't think there's a place for it here.
Speaking of Asian insensitivity. So, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm a quarter Filipino, right? I'm mostly white.
Attaboy.
But I got called a Twinkie earlier today.
Was it right after you said you were going to skedaddle to the store?
No, it doesn't have anything to do with homosexuality. It's actually because you're yellow on the outside and white on the inside. But that's not how I took it. Look, I'm a lot of things. I don't have a twinkish figure at all. I'm a lot of things, but
okay.
I mean, it's really a sign of the times, and it's a sight to behold. It's a shit show, it's the ECW arena. But seeing so many people offering their chairs to these guys, like that's just a visual. You're never going to see this again.
That's friendship.
This kind of crowd participation. It's absurd.
Yeah. I mean, the crowd is as much a part of the match as the wrestlers. It's extreme.
I'm trying to figure out how our host is feeling about being called a Twinkie, and Duke just fucking takes the exit back to the match.
It's weird to talk about, man.
It's for the best. No, Twinks.
Trying to get us back on course here. You're talking about.
Oh, sorry, my bad. My bad. I was trying to be a good guest and a friend. But
well, you're neither of those things, so I mean, might as well talk about the match. So,
all right, keep it moving, slut.
Sorry for the take, man.
Well, we got. Well, it's at this point that the whole match kind of falls apart here. So we got Stevie and Nova, who's also out there. They try to pull the Oriental Spike off a Raven, and that's at this point that Dreamer comes in, Tommy Dreamer, if you weren't aware. Double DDTs. Stevie and Nova. And then primetime Brian Lee gets in, choke slams Tommy Dreamer. We'll see more of them later. And then we got Terry Gordy powerbombing Brian Lee, which looked pretty impressive. We got old barbed wire halo over Raven's head. Terry's bashing him in the corner. I don't know if that's like a common thing he did, but looked pretty gnarls here. And then we got Stevie back in. Stevie kicked to Gordy. Raven hits the DDT. And Raven gets the win. So Raven beats Terry Gordy. So no Bam Bam ECW champion here. But overall, I thought the match was pretty entertaining. What do you guys think about it?
The intro bullshit into the outro bullshit. I mean, you sandwich a match in the middle of it with run-ins and all the other bullshit. It did nothing for me. Did nothing for me.
Not even the barbed wire halo?
No. No, because we had seen that before up to this point, hadn't we?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know, man. Just give me a straight wrestling match, right? A straight wrestling match. You don't need this gibber in the beginning, and you're finding this slimiest slut and this.
Every match needs a gibber.
Yeah, it's there. So
got a point.
There was some exciting business, like I said. I enjoyed the crowd getting involved and offering the chairs and the frying pans, whatever they had.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is sandwiched in between just a bunch of bullshit. Yeah,
we can talk about the other piece of bread if you want.
I mean, we're what, 3 matches into this, and they've kind of all ended with the same big melee at the end. Somebody interferes, really similar, sort of what do you call it? Formula.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
I'll say this. I don't think any of the matches on this card had an aftermath of somebody's son joining the cult of his rival. I don't think. I would have to review the tape.
see Sandman again for the third time. Won't be the last.
Well, so we have, Gordy is out there, Raven, Dreamer, Brian Lee, the Bruce brothers are probably out there. And then Sandman comes out to just settle everything down, clears house. Enough of the tomfoolery, said Sandman. And then Peaches is back, but with her and Sandman's son, Tyler.
She's come to finish the job. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, indeed. Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that.
No. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. There's peaches and then there's cream. I'm with you. So Tyler, this little, I don't know, 9-year-old boy, gets on the mic. He grabs the mic. He says that his dad, Sandman, is a drunk and that he now worships Raven. And you could tell he worships him because he's also wearing a leather jacket. So is Peaches. So it's really just...
Yeah, she changed. She came out looking like Raven.
Yeah, costume change action. I like it. Yeah.
What the fuck was the bit about the unprotected sex? Because I did not see that coming.
It felt very unnecessary.
I wrote down unprotected sex, but that was the only part of it that I wrote down, and now I'm blanking on it. Does anybody remember the unprotected sex bit? Is that Raven?
Yeah. So I believe it was towards Tommy Dreamer who was in the ring because Beulah was pregnant at one point. I forget if it was like a ruse or if she just like had a miscarriage or what the hell the thing was. But the fact that Beulah isn't pregnant and she's with Tommy, I guess, is because Tommy's sperm isn't strong enough to impregnate Beulah, according to Raven.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But it wasn't...
But I'm confused as to why Raven is assuming that they're just raw dogging. Maybe they're using protection, but no, he's probably just blowing loads in her and not getting pregnant. That's probably the assumption. It is 1996, so...
Good for him, man. Good for him.
It is hardcore heaven after all.
That's actually a really good point.
Right.
That is hardcore heaven. Just cream pies all around.
Cream pies. Peaches, cream pies. Peaches and
you
cream
can
pies.
tell Sandman's just an emotional wreck here. And then I write, maybe another drink would solve your problem, you fucking loser.
That's really insensitive, dude.
He cries like a little bitch.
How did he cry?
He goes, Tyler, don't do this to me, Tyler. Tyler, no. Tyler. I don't got the gimmick.
You gotta have the gimmick.
Tyler.
He's distraught.
Just think of blue dust just creeping down.
As if that wasn't enough.
You take her away here.
No, please. I mean, blue dust. I don't even know where to start with this fella. He's obviously wearing blue. It's a little dusty. He's got like a blue dress on, I guess. What even happened here? Blue Dust comes out and he gets DDT'd by Beulah eventually. What happened in between? Can you inform me?
He had something to say. I'm not sure what it was, but he took a Nards plow from Kimona and then a DDT from Beulah. And
yeah, and Kimona. I mean, that's like a meow. She's got to know where the hard cam is, right? Because she's unrobing that weird. That bothered me, right? That's not the kimono I want to see. The kimono, it almost looked like a giant baseball jersey. That's not what I want to see, right? And then she unveils whatever was underneath.
So I think that's actually in a later match. This isn't the only kimono we get. So put your robe back on.
Put it back.
Yeah.
Did I jump ahead?
I believe you did. I know it's.
Well, that's how it's burned into my brain.
Oh, we'll get there, pal. Don't worry. But she's all over the show. Tommy and Raven. It seems like they just come in and out. Oh yeah, of the show. And but yeah, Blue Dust is out here. He probably throws a hand jibber at somebody and then gets DDT'd for his troubles. So, but hey, I was gonna say we got some wrestling up next, but not really. We got the ECW tag titles are on the line here. We got the Eliminators scheduled to face off against the Gangsters. The Gangsters come out, and then who attacks them from behind? None other than the Samoan Gangster Party. Was that their name? Was Samoan Gangster something? Yeah. Otherwise known as Rosie and Samu, which is funny to see them here on NECW. So the Samoan Gangsters and the Black Gangsters, I guess, are fighting each other. Race war of sorts, a gang warfare of whatever the hell. And then the Bruise Brothers get involved because we need more. Meanwhile, the Eliminators are just in the ring watching all of this. They're fighting all around the ring. And then the Bruisers and the Samoans get carried out at some point. They get like security comes out, whatever. They control the situation. And you pan over to New Jack, who is just gushing blood all over the place. Mustafa's also beat the shit, so they can't fight, I guess. So Saturn grabs the mic, which is probably not the best idea. He says a lot of things. He calls the Bruise, because the Bruise Brothers are like the only team left that is still standing. And Saturn's like, we didn't ask for your help, you inbred motherfuckers, or something. I don't know. So it's just pretty fun. But then they kind of have a match, the Bruise Brothers and the Eliminators, but it's really just more brawling. There's no ref, I don't think, at any point. It's kind of a brawl.
He says, you inbred motherfuckers, come back for your ass whipping.
And he's going to fuck them to death, probably.
There's a funny spot here. Well, we should clarify. This is, Jacob and Eli Blue, also known as the DOA and the powers that be. But they got the long hair still, which I like.
Why?
Most recently, the Blues Brothers.
It's the Blue Brothers.
My bad. Blue Brothers.
So I was looking forward to this. This is a classic ECW rivalry, and it was just nothing, right? The Gangsters music was playing throughout, which is kind of their calling card. But there's one spot on the outside where one of the Bruise Brothers is going for a chair shot, and somebody in the crowd is trying to get the chair from him. I don't know if you guys got this, but he eventually wrestled it away from him and dealt the blow to New Jack. But
I had no idea what was going on. Like throughout all of this bullshit, all I wrote down was no match ? And I got inbred motherfuckers come back for an ass whipping, and then the Gangsters are back, and I have no idea what's happening. That's what I got no idea. It took up so much of the show too. Do you know how much time it was?
Oh, we're just getting started too.
To the next fucking match? Fuck off. Just fuck off.
Man, that timekeeper's table comes into play.
Silk pants somewhere over there. You're just fired up, right?
Yeah, I'm a little upset.
A little upsetty spaghetti, some may say.
I think every match is spilled into the crowd.
I'll tell you this.
Kind of do a lap around the crowd and make it back.
Probably my favorite part of this was because the Bruise Brothers and the Eliminators were fighting. The Bruise Brothers are like standing tall in the ring. And then you just see a flying trash can from out of frame just get thrown into a full trash can, by the way. So trash is just littering the ring.
Yeah.
Gangsters come back, like you guys said. They continue to fight. I guess they're trying to build the tag division here, but I get the Philly crowd seemed to eat it up. So who are we to say, right?
This was supposed to be the Gangsters' last shot at the titles too.
Yeah, they really built it up. I hope they get another one because I would say it's a pretty unfair deal for old New Jack and Mustafa. But
they didn't get a chance.
Fuck them.
If not them, if it's not them to take the titles off the Eliminators, it might be the team of Axel Rotten and Hack Myers, perhaps. We got the world's ugliest tag team here taking on the Samoan Gangster Party. So they're back, but in an official match here. Mac Daddy Kane and Sammy Silk, by the way, is what their ECW names are, which is fun. By the way, Sammy Silk gets introduced as Samu. So it's like, okay, Bobby Ortiz, kayfabe, bro.
We already did a moment of silence, but everybody except for Samu is no longer with us in this one.
Yeah. That's
no surprise.
So just cancel each other out. The moments of silence. You know what? Chant needs to make a comeback is who gives a fuck. I thought that was such a fun
good. Yeah.
So before we dive into this tag match, do you know how much time passed in between the end of the last match and this match?
Tell me.
Over 25 fucking minutes. Over 25 minutes. They paraded tag teams out there and inbred motherfuckers and everything else for fucking nothing. For fucking
Look, it's
nothing.
showing how sought after the tag titles are.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
There's like three matches there, man. What are you talking about?
Boom. A title match?
No.
It's probably number one contenders match here, right?
No. There's not one tag match in that motherfucker. Listen, 25 minutes on that bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh.
This isn't the last we've seen of the gangsters, though, because New Jack again with some plunder.
Another I don't know if it's a different trash can or if it's the same one, but he throws it in the ring as this match is getting. It's just starting to get off the ground. People are chanting Yokozuna at Rosie, which I think is a bit insensitive.
This is just such a glorious shit show at this point. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean the match.
Glorious?
It was.
I mean, if you're gonna have a shit show, you might as well go for it, right?
I love the chaos personally. I think it's maybe it did drag on a bit too long, but
perhaps
like the locker room empties. We got 4 teams trying to fight each other. The crowd's throwing trash in the ring to accompany the trash that's already in the ring. It's a good old time, I thought. But yeah, that's about all I got. With that one.
I write at the end of this, might as well have a battle royal here.
Yeah.
At the end of it, there's like 20 guys in the ring. The Doodleys came back. They're in there. You got everybody in the damn tag division in there.
Right.
And do we get a win?
You know, that's a damn good question. Let me review my notes to see who won this contest. Might need to
There's no win.
Might need to go back to the scorebook and
no
see.
Win. I'll tell you who didn't win. The fans. The fans didn't win.
I got so far. We got 4 tag matches, 3 no contests, and a DQ.
Yeah, great.
They should have just made this a battle royal, man. Just went with the flow, right?
Well, it's just showing how unhinged the ECW roster is. You know, they're extreme, so you can't really tame them. Is what
serious amount of shit they throw in there.
At one point, I think Saturn gets the trash can over his head, which had to be disgusting. Because, like I said, it's a full trash can. Who the hell knows what's in there? Baby diapers and semen vials. I mean, who knows? So
that's a weird selection to go with.
That's what look. It's Philly.
Baby diapers, and semen vials.
Yeah.
Those are 2 things that you find together in the trash can.
Are you not going to throw those away if you have those on your person?
I mean, man, if that's what you find in your trash, you got to move.
Well, speaking of moving, let's move. Tall Pitbull number 2 here, defending his TV title against Chris Jericho. So we got an actual match here, which is maybe it's refreshing. Pitbull number 2 as a singles. What are our thoughts on Pitbull bald here as champion?
So I'm okay with it, but for one reason, and that's Francine.
I like watching.
Yeah,
watching her dribble her way down the ring. Yeah.
The Beastmaster.
Yeah, and they call her the Beastmaster. Yes, Beastmaster. Oh yeah, and then part of me wanted to start calling my wife the Beastmaster, but that's not going to fly.
I probably wouldn't recommend that. No.
Yeah. I mean, I might give it a whirl. Just see.
Throw it out there. See what happens.
You've been following the tail here.
Yeah.
How long has Pitbull 1 been out of commish?
Not too long. Maybe a month or 2.
Oh, is he coming back?
I would assume so.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Pitbull too. I was gonna say if he's like, down for the count, not coming back, just calling him the Pitbull would make sense, right?
Right. He's always Pitbull number 2.
But can he have a name though?
He's a tough guy. I mean, I don't mind him being the TV champ.
Can he be just like Dan Jackson, the Pitbull?
Dan Jackson. Yeah, that's actually a more marketable name than Pitbull.
Pitbull Dan Jackson.
I couldn't pull his actual name. I couldn't remember it. But yes, I think the Pitbull Dan Jackson is much more marketable than Pitbull number 2.
Pitbull number 2 rules. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Yeah. Anthony Durante is his name. That's actually kind of a cool wrestling name. That's a
great name.
Yeah.
Why did they make him number 2? If anything, he should be number one because isn't number one is that Gary Wolf?
Yes. Well,
yeah. So I mean,
who's older? Let's see here. Number two was born in 67.
He's dead.
Yeah, number 2's dead. Okay, not the journalist Gary Wolf. Who cares? I would assume Pitbull number 1 was born first. I assume they're brothers, probably in the same litter.
you're gonna think same litter. I was thinking different litter.
Well, they got the same singlets, so like
that makes sense. Yeah, it's the same kind of markings,
similar chains. It's probably the same.
I like the chain as a prop.
Well, it's not a prop. It's kind of a lifestyle.
Ah, okay.
The Mad Dogs of War.
I don't think that he doesn't got a choice in the matter. Like the Beastmaster puts the chain on him.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I'd let her chain me up.
Well, yeah. You and me both together, even if she wanted. It's
okay. I think your fantasies are just starting to seep out. Chain us together by the cock. Chinese finger trap.
The plump cock. I'm trying to skedaddle away.
Okay. I feel like I'm being mocked. We got Pitbull here, number 2.
This was kind of a relief, actually, after that tag team.
I was pleasantly surprised by this match, to be honest. Because the Pitbull matches, they're always like what we just saw with all the chaos and the brawling. Like that's a lot of what I've seen of Pitbull's doing with like Public Enemy and the Gangsters and stuff like that. So seeing Pitbull in like a no bullshit just wrestling match with Chris Jericho. I mean, Pitbull looked like a beast. He did a gorilla press into a tombstone, like a
right out the gate.
Just
I thought that was it.
Casual. I mean, a lot of this match is Jericho jumping off the top rope at him, and then Pitbull just catching him into various like power bombs and power slams. And I thought Pitbull looked really good. Maybe that's a credit to Jericho, even though he's super young here. At one point, Franchise comes out and molests Francine because we can't just have a wrestling match. We got to have some tomfoolery on the side.
Oh, can you blame him?
You know what? That's fair, actually. She was asking for it.
Can you blame it? He comes out and molests her. Duke drops a "Can you blame him?"
Wouldn't you?
Unacceptable.
I didn't think you caught it at first, but it took you a second.
The one thing that I wanted to ask you guys about in watching this match, and I agree.
2 inches flaccid.
Great. Well, no, I get it. But you DM me.
That's right.
So the thing about it, I thought it was an entertaining match. I was enjoying the match, and I didn't need Franchise to come out at all. They could have just had their match. But the one thing I kept on going back to, and I wrote it down multiple times and made reference to it multiple times while I was taking notes, is Francine wearing a swimsuit? Is that what that is?
It's a good question. I didn't see her doing any swimming.
And if so, is it like, is there a pool party that she's going to afterwards? Is the after party perhaps a pool party? Like, I was trying to crack this code the entire time because a swimsuit does not seem like proper attire for the Beastmaster.
It's the middle of June.
Yeah, it's hot. What would you suggest a Beastmaster wear?
Leather.
Okay. I don't like how that was just on the tip of your tongue. But
well, if it's a Beastmaster, you got chains. That's
she
a leather
actually
gimmick,
usually does wear leather. So
yes, she does.
Actually,
and here she's wearing it seems like a swimsuit. Do you think she showed up late? Was she at a swim party? Was she at like a kids party?
I had no time. Right. I gotta go.
Right.
Put on my heels and my chain.
Right. It confused the hell out of me because after party maybe is a pool party. Who knows? But it's not a good idea. Right? It's just not a good idea. She looks great, but just seems off.
Is it
I like how the pit bull will bark at the crowd and they'll bark back at him. That's pretty good.
Because nobody else has done that before.
No. I mean, the crowd is kind of Pitbull number 3 when you think about it. So, kind of makes sense.
Collectively.
Yeah, it's the 12th man or the 3rd man. What's up with this tombstone spot? Not the gorilla press one, but the way that they're like reversing tombstones over and over again, and
really
just kind of flop
it.
on each other.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of the Taker Lesnar botch fest at Mania a little bit. Not as bad as that, but it was the same kind of thing. They just couldn't get it together, but they didn't want to give up on the spot.
Well, they did it right twice, but then they kept just flipping. Like like Blades of Glory. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie. I think they do something similar where they just keep flipping 69.
Okay, yeah.
But that happens.
69.
There we go.
Flipping.
But
yeah, 69.
Nice.
It's nice to see a victor here. We see some applause, some sportsmanship at the end.
Yeah, I did.
Right.
I really like the finish actually.
You want to take us home here?
Let me.
When you said that, I was like, I don't remember a victor running out. I don't remember a victor on this entire fucking. You said that. I looked at my notes. I was like, what the fuck did I miss? Victor. Who's Victor?
Or if they even know her. So the Pitbulls, obviously their finisher is the super bomb, the acclaimed super bomb. Jericho goes for a top rope Frankensteiner. Now everybody's thinking, well, Pitbull's going to counter this Frankensteiner into a super bomb, and they tease it for like a second, but then Jericho whips off the Frankensteiner off the top rope, and that gives him the win. So Jericho wins, a new TV champion. So a short-lived run for Pitbull as a champion. I don't know if old number one ski is going to be back in action anytime soon, but yeah, Jericho, new TV champ. I don't know how long he's in ECW. I don't think it's terribly long, but it's pretty interesting to see a young pain maker here win some gold.
Yeah, if this is middle of 96, he's gone real quick after this.
Yeah.
Real quick. So fun match. The franchise coming out was weird. I wasn't in for that at all.
What's his TV title?
And then, well, that's fine, but there's better ways to go about it. Do it the diplomatic way. And then at the end of the match, Francine, she throws is it a bedpan? Did she throw a bedpan into the ring afterwards?
I don't remember. Was it a frying pan, maybe?
It wasn't a frying pan, because a frying pan has a handle, right? You haven't spent much time in a hospital, have you? So the bedpan that sits aside the bed, and that's where, you do your duties if you got to do your duties.
Right.
You can't make it to the,
I'm familiar.
the flusher.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it looked like she threw a bedpan.
Could have been a bedpan.
Strange to me.
I thought it was pretty, pretty cool. This was Jericho's first title in the U.S. I mentioned that.
Yeah, it's a fun stat.
But Dougler, he really wanted the thing. He didn't escape with it, did he?
No, they got it back eventually. Yeah, that's a good point. He did try to just walk out with it, but
yeah. Good match though. Favorite match so far.
Yeah. Old Pitbull will never fail you. But now we can start undoing that robe. Old Kevin Rhodeski. We got Brian Lee versus Tommy Dreamer in a weapons match, because not every match is you stop doing what you're doing.
It's my sexy
You're getting
dance.
me all hot and bothered.
Thank you.
All the blood's going to my pecker. We got
Man, the sheer volume of plunder in the ring in this one.
Tell me, what's your favorite weapons in this match, guys?
Ooh. In this match, or in
this weapons, because it's a weapons match. So I'd like to hear, what kind of caught your eye in terms of plunder.
I like the violin, right?
Was it a
nice touch?
Was there a violin and a guitar, or is it just one? Or was it a viola, perhaps?
Could have been a viola. There's also a cymbal hit, which I liked.
That's what I was going to ask you specifically, Duke, because you still are on the music scene.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to figure out what the stringed instrument was, because I couldn't quite place it. So I was like, who will know? Duke will know. Duke knows what the string.
I think it's a violin.
It's a violin. They went violin with it, and then the cymbal, was that a shimtar?
I think it was a shimtar. Yeah.
What'd you call me?
I thought it was a shimtar too. Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to say, look at the shimtar over here, but you guys covered it. So.
Yeah.
We also got a mailbox. That's a pretty good one.
The mailbox that says "fuck" on it. I almost fucking. Man, this just, and it wasn't like, it was like, I think it was a green mailbox, and it just spray painted "fuck" on the mailbox. And I would love to talk to that fan, because I want to know what the inspiration is. Does he hate mail? Does he hate the color green? What's going on here?
We got to get to the bottom. Was it Steve from Blue's Clues' mailbox, huh?
Oh, yeah, the fuck box.
Uh-huh.
I was a little confused. I was a little confused by it. And then it reminded me of the time I had to use a mailbox for a pillow when I was camping the one time.
Why? Why a mailbox?
So you know those plastic mailboxes for the paper that go next to your actual mailbox? Well, we were going camping and we were running behind. I just grab your shit and go. So I grabbed a plastic mailbox that I had handy, connected to the mailbox post, and I loaded up some shit and away we went.
Why is that your go-to? Would it not be better just not have a pillow?
No, man. You need to. It head needs to be elevated at least a little bit.
I guess.
Same trip. I was using that Duke. You were there for that trip. That was the I used the mailbox for the pillow. That was the guy backed his truck up over the tent and started it to wake that one sad sack of shit up. And you woke up and your phone was underneath the tent.
Oh yeah.
What a comedy of errors. The hijinks just never stopped with you two, huh?
They kind of have to. We got a little bit older now.
No more sleeping on mailboxes for you.
No.
And that's been a while. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was hilarious though because Duke couldn't find his phone. He's looking everywhere for his phone. He's like, well, I guess I'll just pack up. He packs his tent up, and there his phone is.
Let's get under a tent.
I don't know what I was doing under there, but
those were different times for both of us.
Yeah, young and spry. I get it. Well, we got hockey sticks in this match. I don't know if you brought that up. We got this is all ringside, by the way. All the weapons are set up. They're in various trash cans. I think even Beulah and Kimona, they like bring a shopping cart full of shit. But that's kind of all for naught because they do most of the fighting outside of the building. I mean, they must fight like 2 blocks over. It felt like they were just out there for forever.
Yeah, I love the suplex in the street. That was great.
I did like that there was some fans that were very nice about things. Like, get out of the way for the camera. Get out of the way for the camera. Get out of the way for the camera. I was like, good job, guys. Good job by you. But then there was one fan, the camera hits him in the face, and it doesn't hit him in the face, but gets him right in the face, and the fan screams in terror. Like it goes right there, he goes, ah!
It's always got to be one guy, one asshole,
just a camera. Yeah.
Suplexes in the street, throwing against garage doors or whatever the hell.
Oh yeah. Hey, Rogue. Do you suppose the fans out there were, guys who couldn't get a ticket?
Golly, with this bullshit again. No, I don't believe that they were guys.
Joey Styles would never lie to me. They had to prevent them at the door.
Yeah, man. No, those were just regular fans, I think.
What do you think they were doing out there? Do you think they knew the fight was coming outside, or do you think they were just loitering?
I think they followed.
Oh, they were like inside and they came outside. Yeah. I see.
Well, yeah, because they walked right through like a side door.
Right.
So plenty of people could have just walked.
That was actually my thought is like while they're fighting, because they were outside for like 5-6 minutes at least. Like, what are the people inside doing? Like, are there monitors that they could watch this fight from? Do they have the little like?
No way.
You roll the TV in like in school, like they roll a TV in like a little like whatever the hell square thing.
The AV club kid shows up. Yes. It's like, let me plug this in for you guys.
Which plug goes where?
I don't think that's what happened. I wondered about the traffic when they were outside because they're clearly in the middle of a road, right? And you do see some headlights at certain spots. So
maybe it was Devon coming back.
You think so?
I think it's the next layer of the story. He didn't know where to go. He just kept going in circles.
I got to go back to my family. I got to skedaddle back to my family.
You say skedaddle once, and he never lets it go. Did he not skedaddle? He did skedaddle. So, like,
he skedaddled. I'll give you that. He skedaddled.
Man, there's a spot right before they head back into the arena, and Dreamer delivers the Shimtar symbol shot. So Brian Lee is like ramming Dreamer into this big U-Haul trailer, and I'm thinking to myself, man, that's probably where the ring goes, right?
Yeah.
This is a random.
It's kind of funny, exposing the what's going on back there. But for a shit show, this had some entertainment, right?
Yeah, the one-on-one, you kind of can follow what's going on. had some sense to it. So comparison to other stuff we've seen on this show, it was definitely a welcome. But I mean, of all the weapons, I mean, all these weapons we're talking about, none are more deadly than those luscious milkers of Kimono Wanalea. Just undoes her robe to as they fight back into the ring. She distracts primetime Brian Lee, and this allows Tommy to hit a DDT on a stop sign, and that gives old Tommy the whip. So Tommy gets the win here, and like you said, pretty fun match.
Great distraction.
Yeah,
hell of a distraction. Again, I'm just like, you got to know where hard cam is, right? You have to face hard cam. There are fans that want to see this type of stuff. The distraction, right, is great. I'm a big Kimono Wanalea guy.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
right? real big. I was just so disappointed. I was a little let down in the moment. I was a little let down. The match itself, they could have turned the music needed to stop. They kept on fucking playing the music. That pissed me off. Stop it with this bullshit, right? Enough with the music. And then I was thinking, what could you be doing like in your life? And Kimono Wanalea walks in, unrobes, and you wouldn't be distracted. Is there anything that you could be locked in? You know what I mean? Like, because you can't blame him, right? Old fucking chains.
Prime time chains, yeah.
Yeah, chains in there. Like, is there anything you could possibly be doing in your life where Kimono Wanalea unrobes and you're just not distracted?
Man, he was about to deal the death blow to Dreamer's ball bag. He should have done that first.
Yeah.
Right? Just a quick death blow on the cinder block.
Right.
I don't know if we mentioned that. That was the big build up here.
Yeah.
He put a cinder block on Dreamer's junk and it was about to,
right.
You know,
so that's kind of
thought he was shooting blanks before.
Maybe that's
why. Be shooting nothing.
Because he's done it before. This is like a few months ago. Brian did it to Tommy with a chair. Actually went through with it. And then Tommy did the same thing to him a few shows after that. So now it's just, back and forth. They're trying to talk about a Nards plow. This is like a Nards
like
demolition. I mean,
level.
it's just, it's, but
it's like a one-eyed monster for a one-eyed monster is what you're saying.
Yeah, perhaps. The old aluminum baseball bat, but Beulah stops him because of course she does. She gets goozled by Brian Lee for a choke slam, and then the Kimono flashes, and then all the hoopla after that. But that's just a prelude to one of the biggest highlights in ECW history. Like, it's in every video package or whatever the hell. So after the match, Tommy wins. Bruise Brothers come in, who are the cousins or brothers of Brian Lee. They attack Tommy Dreamer, and then it cuts to so Tommy and Brian Lee are on top of a balcony area, not the normal stage area they usually go to. It's a higher balcony, and I guess the Bruise Brothers stacked 4 or 6 tables underneath. Primetime Brian Lee choke slams Tommy Dreamer off the balcony through all these tables. Looked brutal. Went through them, just all of them seemed like, and crazy moment that sure wasn't too fun to take. But I don't know if you guys have ever taken a choke slam off a balcony like that, but I imagine it wouldn't be great.
I have not taken one off a balcony. No, not like that.
Hey, there's still time.
There is.
Come
on over, Duke. We'll set up some tables.
You got some tables?
I'll get some tables.
He'll choke you on a balcony.
All right.
I'll choke you on a balcony.
Yeah, Joey Styles tells us we need an ambulance. He's probably right.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would assume
Dreamer's real dinged up. That was a serious fall.
Tommy Dreamer is one of the most underrated tough guys in wrestling, man. He doesn't need any ambulance.
He's fine. I think so.
Yeah.
We do get a, the Bruise Brothers and Chains. They'll be DOA in not too long.
Yeah.
After they get a haircut.
Good point. Yeah, can't wait for that. We'll keep an eye on that. But speaking of ambulance, I think the ring might need an ambulance after that match because apparently it broke at some point leading into the main event, Sabu versus RVD, which is fine because Sabu and RVD probably don't need the ropes for anything, right? So, I guess there was Joey Styles says there was a 1-hour delay in between matches because they were trying to fix the ring, which I didn't even catch the ring breaking. I don't know if they had some sort of dark match in between or whatever, but
was this the event that got Kimona in hot water?
I don't know. Do tell.
I might be getting my events mixed up, but there was an event that they had some type of difficulties and they were down for a while, and Kimona essentially went out and stripped for the crowd.
I bet this was. That would make sense.
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if this was obviously it wasn't on the Peacock version because they're bastards. You cut everything else you want, but you leave Kimono alone.
Yeah. It's so funny. Go out there and strip. Go vamp.
It was her idea.
Oh.
I don't remember. It might have been, God, who was it? Todd Gordon or one of the ECW guys. I forget. I think it might have been Todd Gordon, but he said it was her idea to go out there, and because the fans are just standing there, they're going to be out of it. Let's do something to bring them back in. She said, "I'll go out there and strip." Boom. But I guess that got some heat from the other gals. So
the other gals were mad.
Yeah.
Like why wouldn't they? I mean, they could probably just go out there and strip on their own volition, I would assume.
They probably could have went out there too, and everybody would have been having a great time. They would have turned the ECW arena into a snow globe. It would have been fucking wonderful.
Well, it's a shame to hear from Kimona, but it's a shame that it wasn't on Peacock because I would like to see that. But but yeah, so there's a huge delay, whatever the case was. And the crowd seems very, like, you could tell it's been a long time because there's like Hat Guy's not there anymore. It seems the crowd's a little lighter. It's definitely a little quieter, but they got Sabu and RVD up, which if any match could, pump them up a little bit, I'm sure it's that. But
man, we get a "fuck the ring" chant. It's great.
First time I've heard that one. Because the ropes snap very early on, so I guess they didn't do a good job at fixing the ring. Just on like a basic Irish whip, I think RVD like breaks it, the thing snaps, and then they're just like, you could tell they're like, what the fuck? Because I'm sure a lot of this match centered around those ropes, and to be fair, they were still able to use them to an extent. But I think my takeaway from this match is like these Sabu and RVD, two of the most creative wrestlers of all time. So if there's any guys that could improvise around this, it's probably them. And they still managed to have a pretty damn good match, I thought. What do you guys think about this one?
I was so like locked into the ropes being fucked.
Yes, yeah.
It was kind of hard to, because like I've been at shows and I've worked shows where the two guys are in the ring or a tag team's in the ring and the ropes just, I don't know, they just all of a sudden are loose as shit. And you worry right away. And you almost want to just be like, all right, guys, you need to like go home now. Like just go home. We'll send some guys out there. We'll get the ropes fixed. But there was no fixing these. So like some of the stuff that they were pulling off with the ropes all jacked up was pretty impressive. And I don't know, like there's a borderline between like impressive and just fucking dumb. I don't know where it lands exactly, but a little bit, man. But for what the match was, the fans didn't seem too into it. That was the thing that compared to the rest of the bullshit.
They were probably tired at this point, though. They're probably annoyed from having to sit there and watch this horse strip in the ring.
Are you kidding me?
Okay, like how long can you watch somebody strip in a wrestling ring?
As long as it takes.
Okay. After those 2 minutes, like what else do you do?
There was the ropes being as loose as they were and all jacked up was a concern, but
I thought they did great. Like considering
they did a great job. But the bigger concern to me was the monkey flip spot. Where, like Sabu. He could have gotten ass fucked. He's lucky, or maybe he's not so lucky that he didn't get ass fucked right there.
Yeah,
like that was dangerous as hell.
Yeah, it was the Sabu was in the corner, just like up against the corner. RVD has a chair in his hand, and the idea was for him to drop the chair and then roll over it and then monkey flip Sabu onto the flat chair, but the chair like unfolded so the legs were sticking up. But RVD, I guess, didn't see it. Well, how could he see it? Monkey flipped Sabu onto the chair's legs that were sticking up. But Sabu, I mean, he landed on it, didn't die. So I guess it was fine all in all. Right. But I guess they got stretchered out eventually. So maybe not. But
and his fingers got jacked up early in this match.
Yeah.
And then the other spot that I took issue with was RVD goes up top. He's got a chair.
Mm-hmm.
And Sabu's on his feet. And he points to the sky. And then turns and just stands and waits. He just waits for RVD to do this like flipping senton while with the chair. Like, you got at least like
maybe he thought
fake.
He
like
thought the ropes were going to
get
fail and make RVD fall. So he's probably had faith in the ropes.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
The crowd.
And then Sabu nutting himself was also a high point for me.
Let's go let that sit
there. The crowd was pretty firmly behind Sabu. RVD didn't seem like he'd really added his like personality that to his character.
Yeah,
just badass guy who throws kicks and flies around. Some exciting spots though, like you'd expect out of these guys. I really like when Van Dam is he's laid out with his junk on the guardrail, and then Sabu does a suicide splash, and they go flying into the crowd.
Yes,
very good.
Yeah,
sloppy as hell, but I mean,
very sloppy.
Yeah. Probably should have been a lot sloppier with the circumstances, because like Sabu's still throwing out triple jump moonsaults off the top rope, even as loose as it is, which is, like you said, is it impressive? Is it dumb? It's probably both, but they were able to improvise. They probably more crowd fighting than they intended, I would assume. They like fight to the bleachers, and chairs, like you said, are all over the place. Tables get involved. They do the so Sabu bridges a table over the barricade in the ring, goes to jump towards RVD, ends up DDTing RVD through this bridged table, which looked gnarly. And so this is I should also say this is their third match against each other. They're 1-1. And in the last match, RVD won with a second rope fisherman buster that broke Sabu's neck. So he goes for it again. He misses the first time. Sabu counters with the flying DDT. But then RVD hits this fisherman buster off the top. There's a bit of a delay for the pinfall. So Sabu's able to kick out this time. And then Sabu ends up winning with a atomic Arabian face buster for the win. So Sabu wins, but both guys get stretchered out. So does anybody really win? But really good match. And RVD is still very new. He's only been there for like 2 or 3 months at this point. So
yeah, he's still walking out in like the top gi.
Yeah, this is like the first match I think where he had like the tie-dye singlet that like he used to have like just a plain black whatever singlet. So he's like slowly evolving his character, but like you say, he's not really quite there yet. But still good stuff, especially with the circumstances. I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like they did a lot more crowd work. Like you said, I completely agree with that. And early in the match too, like Sabu grabs the ropes in like anger. Like after you hear him, he like grabs the ropes in anger, like fuck. And then the other thing that happens early on was like the only part in this match where it was, and you would think there'd be a lot more like botch type scenarios in this, but it was, he goes and the spot, RVD ducks down, he's going to go for a back body drop. Sabu's going to turn and do kind of a backwards rollout, but the rope snaps, and then he still kind of runs at him and just does the most half-assed like roll kind of gimmick that he did. The funniest part in this entire match, do you know what it is? You got something written down for the part that made you laugh the most?
Let's see here. What do we got?
Is it a Nard shot?
Nah.
No.
I don't think I don't know if I have this one. Why don't you fill
so
me up?
When they got that bridge going with the table from the ring to the guardrail, and RVD gets up on top of it, he's on his stomach, right? And he's like kind of crawling a little bit, putting himself in position, and it looks like he waves a fart away. Like he takes his arm out, and it looks like he just daft and he's waving it away. Like I thought that was weird. Like I don't know what he was doing. He's laying there on the table. There's no reason to wave a fart away unless that's what you're doing. Like you're on camera, buddy. This is paper. You're in front of a live audience. Like you can't commit to waving it away. And has that ever worked in the history of ripping ass to wave it away?
I like that.
That never works. You never wave it away. It's just
why shoo it away? Enjoy it, right?
Well, I mean, depending on what brand you're looking at, yeah, sure, why not? But at the same time, like you don't wave it away.
He's about to get drilled through a table head first. Like the least he could do is make sure he's it smells fine. Which you know what?
But wouldn't that be in the confines of the match? Wouldn't that be a good defense then?
So you think if he waved the fart in the opposite direction, maybe Sabu wouldn't have been able to execute the maneuver, and RVD would have
That'd be
won.
one of those like, I'm gonna do this. Oh no, I'm not gonna do
right.
this.
Because
who shit their pants?
Sabu strikes me as a fellow who'd be like, "Oh, that's stinky. Let me go away." So,
right,
actually, a really good point you bring up.
That's what I think's my thing.
It's kind of a thing I do. But yeah, any other thoughts on this match? That brings Hardcore Heaven to a close. Any other thoughts on this match? Thoughts on this show? Thoughts on aluminum bats or anything?
I mean, yeah, that last match was a good match. I mean, they hit their their crazy wild spots that they're known for, and a lot of this show was a shit show. But like I said at the beginning, I'm trying to embrace the chaos and enjoy it with these ones. Because that whole tag team turmoil bullshit was a good hour of the show.
It was a lot.
And with 3 no contests and a DQ. Never quite seen anything like that before on the show, There's some good action though.
In watching this event, now we've watched, was this our third ECW event that we watched together? Okay. One of the things I thought about was if this was in an age now, right? Like if you put ECW up now, do you think that they, like in the internet world, right? Do they survive at all? Do they even become a number 3 product in today's world? Because watching it back, like a lot of it's just not good.
Yeah.
Which sucks for me to say because I loved ECW when I was younger. So a lot of it's just not very good. Does it survive?
Yeah, today, I mean, I feel like we've just been desensitized probably to this type of stuff. I don't know, is GCW kind of an equivalent nowadays? ECW? As close as really there is, I guess.
I would say that's the closest comp you can make.
Yeah, because they have some relatively big stars there. A lot of extreme stuff, but also some pretty good wrestling. So I don't think it's probably as accessible because ECW. I mean, it was just a cult following because you had WWF and WCW. You have to have a lot of things happen too because WWF, WCW are both not that great. At least they weren't for several years. So ECW was something different. I think people were just hungry for something different, which is probably what sparked the real support behind it. Plus, they got people like Stone Cold showing up, and even it was Steve Austin, but he was still a well-known name. And you have Brian Pillman popping up, and then luchadors, which you didn't really see anywhere else. So it was a perfect blend of stuff that I think. Plus, it's the '90s in general. It just felt like it fit the culture too. So,
right.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
They did, they did have some of the best wrestlers in the world at this time. A lot of them, it was just kind of a pit stop between, what they were doing before in the big leagues. But I mean, Jericho looked great here,
Yeah, I thought so too.
RVD obviously, went on to be a huge star, and Sabu was a legend, but the mainstays of ECW do kind of stick around though, basically until they close, I think, with Dreamer and these guys. And
yeah, Dreamer does for sure.
Dougler probably. No, Dougler, he jumped ship. We covered the Dougler.
Yeah. The last couple of years of ECW, it's kind of like a whole different thing. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, New Jack pretty much stays there. I mean, most guys stick around till at least 2000. Then it starts people start jumping ship. But I enjoy the show. I thought because ECW, like you guys said, it's chaos. It always is. Even the shows we've covered. But there was some direction here. There's stories starting to be told outside of the world title, which is refreshing. Douglas in the TV title. You got the BWO, as silly as it is, ends up becoming a big thing. And it's kind of the seeds being planted for that. You got the Dudley storyline. You got Tazz being built up, Ravens champ. So there's some good stuff here. But like you said, the tag team scuffle maybe could have been 30 minutes shorter, perhaps. But what can you do?
Yeah.
What can you do? But, just watching those, I could watch those guys duke it out for a year. But speaking of duking and years and people going rogue, the Year of Duke and Rogue podcast. Once again, boys, thanks again for checking out the show, coming on, talk about. Where can everybody find you boys, listen to you, and tweedle your nipples?
Well, they can tweedle my nipples anytime they see me. I'm
know.
welcome. I'm a welcome man as far as that goes. You can check us out. It is at Gorilla Brain Wrestling Podcast. So just look up Gorilla Brain Wrestling Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. You'll find the Year of Duke and Rogue as well as Tots Pod. You can follow the Year of Duke and Rogue on Twitter. That's at Year of Pod. You can follow Gorilla Brain Wrestling Podcast on Twitter. That's at GBW Pods. You can follow them at on Instagram. Just look up Gorilla Brain Wrestling Podcast. Facebook, just look up Gorilla Brain Wrestling Podcast. You can buy the tees, PWT/Gorilla Brain. I think that's it as far as that. You can catch me live every Monday night on the Shining Wizards podcast. I think that's, Duke, am I missing something as far as where else people
Is that
can find
all?
us?
I think that's pretty good.
You say it
Pretty
like
good.
that, man. You start talking about people that are like, oh, I got a TikTok. I got a fucking Truth Social. I don't even know what the fuck that is.
On Threads?
Like, I got Threads. I heard that the other day. It's
Right.
like, hey, you can find us on Threads. Like, I don't need to find you on Threads. Like, just go to the most popular spots. That's where you should be. Then I'll find you there.
Right.
Like, don't make me find new social media to find where you are. That's absurd.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, man?
Who cares? Nobody wants to find me.
Oh,
Nobody
tough guy.
looks for me.
Sorry, but you got a kendo.
That's all I need. Me and Kendo here. Fills all my needs, and
It kind of
my
looks like a
assets.
lever.
It does.
Time to end the show. Once again, thank you to Duke and Rogue from the Year of Duke and Rogue podcast for joining me on this show. Always a great old time with these boys. Love having them on. Go check them out. Go check out the Year of Duke and Rogue podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. All of the info in the description below. What else is there to do but hit this jingle? Bartholomew, why don't you go ahead and hit play on that bad boy? WCW, ECW, WWF, who's the hardest promotion? Eric or Vince or Paulie? I think we can agree, though it's mostly shit. Alrighty, let's grade this bad boy, shall we? First of all, if you're unfamiliar with this, the hardest promotion battle of 1996. What this entails, I kind of glazed over it in the beginning here, but we look at this show, Hardcore Heaven 1996. We look at just this era in general of ECW, and we see how it compares against the other hard hitters in this era, that being WWF and WCW. Each category has its own weight, has its own criteria, but we will get into it. I will walk you through it. Also, you could also check this out on YouTube if you're not already, which I'll be sharing the screen. So it'll be a little easier if you do that, but I will also tell the tale through my tongue, if you will. Blah, blah, blah. First of all, first thing we got to do is grade this pay-per-view. Pay-per-view? Pay-per-view. Hardcore Heaven 1996. So we're grading on a scale from S to F. S being like one of the best shows ever. F being to basically chlamydia, but in a wrestling ring. So what do we got here? Hardcore Heaven 1996. I'll say this. I think I enjoyed this more than my guests did. But maybe that's kind of in relation to all the ECW I've been watching, and maybe this just felt like an improvement. Maybe it felt like the ship was kind of going in a certain way. You know, it used to be just a ship that was on fire and it was sinking, and then it hit an iceberg, and then a tornado hit it. Now it's like, okay, we're on a sea. The sea might be full of all sorts of STDs and dip spit and stuff, but what am I talking about? ECW, Hardcore Heaven. But I feel like, Hardcore Heaven is kind of a show where ECW is starting to find a little bit of direction. Got some good storylines brewing, got some good wrestling, the presentation, the crowd's into it. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff happening here, but that's not to say this show wasn't it had its faults, I would say. The tag team there was a lot of just mindless brawling on this show, which I get to an extent, but I think it just dragged on a bit too long. But not a ton of dead space on this show. I thought it was pretty solid. So I'm looking at the other shows here just to kind of compare. I gave Matter of Respect, I gave a B. Let me just kind of pull up the Matter of Respect card to kind of refresh my memory here. Because that was the last ECW show. I do remember it being good. I remember RVD and Sabu was great. Close to being a match of the year, but not quite. Let's see here. You had some Dudley's shenanigans. You had that triple threat between RVD or between Raven, Pitbull, and Sandman. That was pretty good. Shane Douglas versus Too Cold Scorpio. I'm gonna say this, man. I think Hardcore Heaven was better than Matter of Respect. I think I'm looking at Matter of Respect. You got a lot of stupid shit with like Damian Kane. You got Tazz just in a random squash match. The Chris Jericho Mikey Whipwreck match wasn't that great. The main event was just a long 6-man bullshit brawl. Now, I'm not saying that this show didn't have any of those things, but I think I'm gonna give this. You know what? I might throw a B at this show. I think I'm gonna throw a B at this show. I think it was ECW, doing the ECW thing at its best, or at least at a very good level. I thought Jericho and Pitbull was really good. I thought the Terry Gordy and Raven thing was kind of silly, but I thought that was very entertaining. Dreamer and Brian Lee. Again, kind of a mindless brawl at a lot of points, but it still had its unique spin, being like actually on the street. It's definitely not an A, that's for sure. But I would say it's better than a C. I might throw a B- at this, but it gets a B from me. Hardcore Heaven, 1996. It's raining. It's sticking balls off now. Hopefully, it's not too loud. But yeah, all right. So we got ECW Hardcore Heaven gets a B. Now, what does that mean? Well, now we go over to this tab over here, and we see which promotion has the best average score for their pay-per-views / events. Currently, WWF still is in the lead here. They have a 4, which equates to about a B, I guess, on average. ECW is doing slightly better than WCW, though, at a 2.67. So what would that be? Like a C, C-, whatever the hell. But so ECW's not in the lead. So that nothing changes from the overall average grade score. So WWF maintains that. By the way, I should say, right now going into this show, the overall score here is WWF with 13, ECW with 8, WCW with 1. So WWF is still in the lead here, but like I said, let's kind of watching these promotions in tandem. I would say WWF at this point, in this particular date and time, probably one of the weaker shows at this point. But we're taking into account kind of an overall look at the company as well here in certain areas. But best pay-per-view so far, well, I should say the best overall average grade gives WWF 6 points. So they maintain that. Best pay-per-view of this year, still WrestleMania 12. WWF maintains their 2 points for that. Worst pay-per-view, WCW Super Brawl. WCW gets -1 point for that. So Hardcore Heaven, as per the grade, not the best, not the worst, but from an in-ring perspective, so best overall, currently we're tracking ECW as the best, and I think I will still maintain that. So just the variety. You have the tag team stuff, you have the hardcore stuff, you also have just the pure in-ring quality, your Jerichos, and even like Pitbull and stuff. I mean, the even matches that don't seem like they're going to be good end up being great. Too Cold Scorpios having some good matches. Shane Douglas is solid. So better than anything WWF or WCW are doing at this point. So ECW gets those 4 points. So no changes yet. Best match of the year. Currently tracking Shawn Michaels versus Diesel at In Your House 7. Best match in Hardcore Heaven, I think I would say probably Pitbull versus Jericho. I would say probably the best on this card. Now, is that better than Shawn versus Diesel? I don't think so. I wouldn't even say that match was better than RVD versus Sabu at Matter of Respect. So no change to best match of the year. WWF still maintains that with 2 points there. Worst match of the year, currently tracking Ultimate Warrior versus Goldust at In Your House 7 as well. The worst match on this show, I mean, those tag team deals weren't really matches. Yeah, nothing on this show was really that awful in my opinion. So, especially not worse than Warrior versus Goldust. So WWF still has that, and they get -1 point for that. Roster star power. So best overall, we're tracking WCW as that. And I would still kind of, this show, Hardcore Heaven, really didn't see many changes to their roster, if any. So I don't see any reason to change. Because at this point, WCW, they've seen Scott Hall and Kevin Nash debut. So they got them, plus the Cruiserweights, plus Hogan and Macho Man and Flair and Booker T. And WCW's got the best roster, I would say. The most breadth and the most depth currently. So WCW maintains that with 4 points. Wrestler of the year, tracking Shawn Michaels currently as the best of the year. Ooh, who from this show would give him is currently competing with Shawn Michaels at this point? Shane Douglas, perhaps. Potentially. I don't know if he's quite at that level yet, though. Shane Douglas. He's doing some great stuff. I think he may overtake him at some point, but I don't think as of yet, quite yet. I just don't think he's had the significant, at least as many significant matches as Shawn Michaels with the quality of Shawn Michaels. So I will say Shane Douglas as a character is better than Shawn Michaels, but overall, I think HBK kind of holds this for now, but I don't know how long he will. You can also argue RVD, Sabu, Devon. Yeah, as of right now, I don't think nobody's touching Shawn Michaels at this point. Not yet. So WWF still has that one at 2 points. Worst wrestler of the year, Kevin Sullivan. Yeah, no one from this show, Hardcore Heaven, I don't think really prompts a change in this one. ECW wise, I mean, the worst wrestler, who would even like a Mikey Whipwreck or something? I don't know. Yeah, no one from ECW I don't think has that moniker yet. So WCW maintains that with -1 point. Out of ring. So we're looking at gimmicks, characters, promos, storylines. Currently tracking the best overall out of ring quality. We're tracking ECW. And I think I will still maintain that. Like I said, man, they got, a bunch of unique storylines. I mean, the Raven and Sandman thing is kicking off, bringing out Sandman's son. You got the TV title scenes pretty good. You got the tag team division, while it was a bit clunky on this show in particular. You got a lot of there's a competitive vibe to it. So I think plus it's all just the Tommy Dreamers and the Brian Lee stuff, like all the classic ECW stuff. I think ECW's got the most engaging product from an out of ring standpoint currently. So they keep that at 4 points. Best character or storyline, we're tracking Goldust. Goldust is kind of slipping at this point, man. He's he had it was going good. Now he's kind of just an accessory piece to the Mankind and Undertaker feud. And I believe Goldie loses the IC title soon, but we're not there yet, so we can't really factor that in quite yet. But who on this show, who on ECW right now would give him a run? Again, Shane Douglas. But again, I feel like with Shane Douglas, we're just kind of brewing something that's going to turn out to be better. I don't think we're quite there yet. I think we're almost there. RVD, Tazz is something. Love the presentation of Tazz. He beat a legit UFC fighter. He has Team Tazz with him. He has Bill Alfonso with him. Still building to the Sabu match, which is something that people are clamoring for. Do I throw Tazz here as the best character? Or is there a storyline on this show? Raven and Sandman. That's another one I think is still building. I think the flame was just ignited. I don't think it's at its peak yet. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But I might throw a Tazz at this one, man. Oh, it's tough. Tazz or Goldust? Who's the better character in June of 1996? Dog, I kind of want to put Tazz. I think it might change. We can always go back, right? There's a lot of shows left. This will change, especially with Bash at the Beach 1996 coming up. This is probably all a moot point anyways, but look, man. Tazz takes that one, man. We got some points changing now. Finally. So ECW takes over. They take the 2 points away from WWF here. Worst character storyline. Dungeon of Doom. This is something I don't think has changed since the start of this, and I think we're gonna keep it here. Yeah, nothing on this show was worse than that. I don't think so. WCW gets -1 point for that. So with that, where are we standing here, folks? WWF still in the lead with 11 points, but ECW creeping up on them with 10 points, only 1 point behind. And we got WCW pulling the rear, with 1 point. So, close race up top here, but we got a lot of year left. And, yeah. I think that about does it, huh? By the way, whoever wins this, I will buy a championship belt of the winning company. That about does it for me, man. That about does it. Thank you guys so much for listening. I enjoy you all. Make sure to follow. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow. Stick your finger in my belly button and call me the Pillsbury Doughboy. Make sure you do all of those things. Appreciate you all. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. Appreciate your warm smile. I'm hard.
Yeah.
And the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started.